Welcome to Midpoint, OCC's midweek podcast aimed at helping you connect with last week's message and prepare you for next week's sermon. Let's dive in.
Well, hello, and welcome to Midpoint. This is your midweek connection to Orchards Community Church, and oh my goodness, this is a very exciting midpoint for me. I am excited that we will go to a video format later in the year. If we were doing video now, this would be the prettiest midpoint we've ever done, because normally it's a couple of pastors in here. But today, Pastor James is here, and my special guest is my beautiful wife, Christina Green, who is joining Midpoint for the first time ever. Yay!
Yay, rookie.
So we're very excited to have a rookie on board. But there's a specific reason. Last weekend, we had our missions conference, which, as I talked to folks, might have been the first missions conference ever at OCC. It certainly has been the first one in forever, in a long, long time, in the almost 11 years that we've been here. And we had a guest speaker, one of the sponsored missionaries that we support, Duncan Sprague, through Cadence International. And Duncan has a long time connection here at OCC. He's a Lewiston guy, and he told stories of his connections, and those were all kinds of fun. But he couldn't stick around long enough to do Midpoint. So I invited my wife, who leads our missions committee or missions team or whatever we call it. And she was integral in getting this conference kind of up and running and has been leading that team well. And you had tons of support from the folks who came alongside. So that was really good. But again, you are kind of the lead in that committee. So I wanted to allow you to share some of the stuff that you thought were highlights, some of the big stuff from the missions conference. And so in that, kind of just tell me what the passion was, what the purpose was behind deciding to have a missions conference. Like, where did the idea come from? Spill a little bit about all the origins of the missions conference.
Well, a couple years ago, it kind of started when I realized I was just really convicted that I didn't know the missionaries that we supported at OCC. And so I figured if I didn't, as a pastor's wife, that probably meant a lot of people didn't know who we supported. And I just kind of wondered, like, were they being supported well? And did they feel like they were encouraged from a church that was supposed to be, for them? So that was kind of the heart that started me just thinking about it. And that out of that came our team. Mm-hmm. First, we just kind of came up with a mission spotlight just to put their faces kind of in front of the body. And then once we started meeting as a team, we decided a missions conference would be a great way for people to actually get to meet them face to face. And so that was really the whole idea behind a missions conference, was just to make people aware of who we support in missions, and what they do, and what their ministry is, and where they are, and who they are. So,
and I love part of your heart behind it, truly. And like I say, it's fantastic that God has blessed us, and we've been good stewards, and we have supported financially missionaries for a long time. I mean, we have missionaries that we've supported for literally over a decade or more.
Well, I think some of them for 30 years,
decades.
I think, yes.
So that part's kind of impressive. And I know they're thankful for that. But like you say, getting the financial support is a big, big first step. Obviously you can't go to many of these mission fields without being financially supported. But as you say, are we leaving a lot on the table if we're not praying well for them, if we don't know them with a purpose like ours, where we say we want to be relationally connected? Like, how relationally connected are we to our missionaries?
Right.
And so I knew you had a big heart for that. And again, some of this, we talked about this, you and I, 10 years ago when we came on staff, and we just didn't have the apparatus. We weren't healthy enough. We didn't have enough people who were on board, I think, because, again, you had a heart for this a decade ago. And so it's just neat to see it finally kind of start to play out. And so in that, we, again, had Duncan come, and I thought that was fantastic. But one of the real highlights for me was we had so many OCC-supported missionaries who came to the conference and sat up on the stage with us and shared prayer requests and shared kind of the story of what was going on. And goodness, I think, I don't remember, I know we have 20 missionaries that we're supporting, but it seemed like maybe 14 or 15 of them were there, mm-hmm. and several, sent in videos, whatever. And that, I didn't know how that was going to go. I thought that was fantastic. And many people said that was one of the neatest parts for them, was to hear actual stories and to hear prayer requests. So I thought that was pretty impressive as well.
Yeah, and I think the other cool thing was just as they were talking, all the connections between the missionaries. Duncan knowing, of course, Dick and Marietta and the connection there, and then
Well, he married into that.
right, he married into that. But then Steve Ellison's wife knew them as well, and so just all these connections. And then Bruce Burton, who had been helping Dick and Marietta years ago with ministry, and so it was just really cool to see how many overlapped. Knowing each other, and they mentioned it and just talked, just really, it was really cool. I think all the connections, and for the people in the body to see all those connections, just the legacy of the ministries and people.
And one of our missionaries who couldn't be here because they were in Africa and literally sent a video in, and they were Duncan's, I think, Sunday school teacher maybe,
or something
30
like
some odd years ago.
Yeah.
And so, that part was really, really neat. Again.
Or maybe involved in youth. I think maybe,
I can't remember. But
encouraged him to keep coming. Yeah.
Yes. At a time when, so I mean, it was
he was kind of a little bit rejecting at first. And
it was
then
probably almost 40 or 50 years ago. So that's pretty impressive when you start thinking about those kind of things. So that was really, really exciting. So again, if you missed it, goodness, I feel kind of bad for you because it really was a celebration. And if you did miss it, like kind of our plan now is we won't do it again for a few years because, the I guess, big picture vision is to kind of have a conference every 3 years. What do you have in store? What are you hoping, praying that the missions team might be able to have in that time gap while we're waiting for another conference?
Yeah, and since we're really new at this, and so we don't know
These
for
are all
sure.
hypotheticals.
Yes, the hypothetical. We're thinking every probably 3 to 4 years, possibly having a mission conference. And part of that thought was even talking to Duncan about that this weekend. He thought that was a great idea. Just when you do something year after year, sometimes it loses its luster and kind of the momentum. And so I think you kind of want people to long for it and ask for it. Yeah. And so we were thinking,
leave them wanting more.
Yeah, and so I think if you do it every year, also that's quite a burden sometimes to put on the missionaries, especially if they're far away to try
travel,
to get here. So in between, we were thinking try to do mission trips. So maybe 1 year do something, local, closer at home. And then another year maybe do something farther away from here, maybe still in the U.S., but just farther away, or something international. Yeah. So we have a missionary that's already offered for us to come and help them internationally. And that would be a little more of just kind of a scene of culture mission trip, not so much hands and feet working. But then there's also Compassion International that Duncan actually leads trips for. Yeah, and so that would be a big possibility. And we talked a lot about that this past weekend. And we've got lots of different things. Actually, our daughter Macy, her fiance, has connections with really good friends that have an orphanage in Colombia. And so that's another possibility. So.
Yeah. Well, I think stuff like that, and OCC has had a history of some really neat mission trips. In Rwanda and Mexico, and we don't have the relational connection in some of those anymore, so looking to establish new connections. There's just something incredible about getting outside of your comfort zone and taking a trip like that helps you see the whole world doesn't look like the LC Valley, and there's lots of needs out there, and how can we be part of what God is doing in those areas. So I'm super encouraged about that, and excited to serve on the committee with you. I think that's kind of fun.
Yes, I like that we get to do that together, and I know
you've been able. You lead it. I can just kind of show up to that.
And I mean, you have been on a mission trip to Guatemala, but I never have been on a far away. I mean, I've done kind of smaller,
done local
things. Like I helped with Habitat for Humanity a couple times when I was younger and things like that. But it would be neat to see a different culture and see what, I know everyone's very changed by those kind of things. So
yeah. Well, if that kind of literally spurs us on to loving good deeds, that would be a great, great thing. And maybe we can start some long-term connections where literally we are taking trips every 3 years to some place that God has for us here at OCC. So that'd be really, really exciting. Well, is there anything else that really impacted you from the conference that you thought, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we did this for this reason?
Well, being able to just really get to know the missionaries better. I got to have some extended time with a couple different people, and that was really, really great to just get to see their heart and feel like now there's a bond there.
Exactly.
And so that's really cool. And I feel like that we'll keep in touch better. And now that they know me and know our team better too, I think it's just going to be easier to support them well and encourage them. And another part of the whole missions thing in the encouragement part is that if they have a need, that they feel comfortable calling, texting, reaching out to us for that. We had a situation this past summer where that kind of happened, and I was so glad that the missionaries felt like they could, ask for help. And so we want them to do that. So that was really, really good. I really enjoyed getting to know them better. And Duncan's message was just really hit home. I think that was phenomenal. I enjoyed his messages all weekend long on Saturday and then even on Sunday. So,
well, and the bigger theme that he had, share the gospel, share your life, which, used the 1 Thessalonians verse that honestly is kind
near
of
and dear to our heart always.
Well, and really was primary for me in Young Life. Young Life Vision kind of shared that same verse. If you love somebody, as Paul said to the church in Thessalonica, you don't want to just share the gospel.
Share your very lives.
Yeah, you want to share your very life. And man, a lot of times that verse makes me cry thinking about really getting into the weeds with somebody and being able to not just, send them some money, but know that you're bearing a burden, maybe praying for them, that you're offering some encouragement by being a friend to them. So that's what sharing your life looks like. And so, yeah, it really was neat. It wasn't a real hard sell, hey, sign up and go to this area or do whatever. It was, are you on mission all the time?
All the time.
And so, as we had conversations with him and got to have meals with him and stuff, it was more about being a missionary in your life as opposed to making a trip,
Right.
So that was neat. Like I say, it was a kind of a big picture theme, I thought. So very, very encouraged, very exciting. And again, shout out to your team because
yes, I definitely wanted to thank my team and yeah, they were great help. I couldn't have done it by myself. So
no. And again, I know you put a lot of work into this, and many of those areas were big strengths for you because you are an organizer, and seemed like you had a lot of fun decorating, and those things were good. Yes. But yeah, the team coming alongside made those things a whole lot easier, which was nice. So
yes, it takes a village.
Yes, well, isn't that what they say? Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing that. And so looking forward to next week, kind of getting, well, sort of back to what we normally do from the sermon standpoint. We are going to take a little break in our study through Romans, and this is the week where we have our annual meeting scheduled on Monday. And so that's a special meeting. If you've never been to one of those, man, it feels like a celebration. It's an opportunity for us to have every pastor on staff kind of stand in front of the body and share highlights from the past year, things they're looking forward to in the current year. Colleen, who's our financial administrator, will come and just kind of open the books and share where we are from a budgetary standpoint. And that we've just been so blessed by that. It's so encouraging to see those snapshots. And it gives people a chance to ask questions if they're wondering why do we do things the way we do at OCC. So that's a great time. So on Sunday, we will have kind of an annual meeting message preparing us for the actual annual meeting. And that's just one that's kind of fun for me because it's not opening a passage of Scripture and kind of walking through it. It's kind of opening up our life as a church and walking through it, saying, how is God leading us? Why is the church a church in the first place? Why do we exist? How do we, flesh out our purpose, mission, and vision? And I've just really been thinking a lot about the vision part of that because our vision is so broad. We say our vision statement is we just want to join God where He's at work. Well, that's pretty big. God's at work everywhere. And so one of the things I always remember you telling me, especially early in my walk with the Lord, because you have walked with the Lord longer than I have, although you're so much younger. As people have been prone to remind me recently, I don't know why. Are you looking younger and I'm looking older as we go on? I don't know what it is, but
you can dye your hair.
So, yeah. The solution for everything. If you find my hair dyed, just know that my wife did that while I was sleeping, and I woke up with darker hair. And but in that, one of the things that as I have been prone to sometimes bite off more than I can chew, you've reminded me, you can't do every good thing. You want to do the best things. You want to do the things God is really calling you to do. And so in that, we want to join God where he's at work, but we can't do everything as a church. So how does a vision like that help us work through our purpose and our mission of being relationally connected and making disciples? Because there are tons of good things we could do, but if there's another church doing them, if there's a parachurch organization doing them, if there's a missionary doing them, do we have to do those, or can we trust that the larger body of Christ is going to accomplish those things for God's glory, and we're going to do the things he's calling OCC to do? And so, a lot of that, of course, is around the issues that we have, the good problems we have with growth in the church. We're kind of up against it with space that we have available, with the number of services that we can offer and still try and fit everybody in the building. And so we've got real questions coming up that we are seeking God's wisdom and direction on that. And so we'll get to talk a little bit about that as well. So excited for that coming up. But of course, with that, you can come to any of the services on Sunday morning. Have services at 8, at 9:45, and 11:30 on Sunday mornings. And our Monday service, Mondays at 7 p.m. It's the same service every time. So you don't have to come to all four, but you could. But you'd get bored probably by that fourth one. But I'm going to be at all four this weekend. And so I want to invite people to be able to come to that, and always looking forward to seeing you guys there. And that is all the time we have for Midpoint this week. So we certainly hope you enjoyed the time. And if you have any questions, if you are wondering about anything, please send those in. You can send it to OCCpodcast at lewistonocc.org, or you can there's a drop box right outside of the worship center. You can come and talk to anybody on staff and give us your questions. You could, email them. You can do whatever you want. But again, we love having the questions. It gives us a great opportunity to engage with you guys. So we look forward to hearing those and seeing you for the annual meeting message this week. And we are so glad you're staying connected by checking out our podcast. So remember that you are loved by God and by us here at OCC. So God bless you guys.